The habit of self-reproach is not just a harmless emotional reaction. It is a deeply destructive force that can consume both the mind and body, leading to long-term damage. Many people experience fleeting moments of regret or guilt, but when this spirals into relentless self-blame, it becomes a silent predator, gnawing away at mental stability, physical well-being, and overall quality of life. Worse still, it often goes unnoticed until its consequences are severe, making it one of the most insidious threats to personal health. One of the most immediate and dangerous effects of prolonged self-reproach is its impact on mental health. The mind becomes trapped in a loop of guilt, anxiety, and self-criticism, making it nearly impossible to focus on the present or find peace. People who constantly blame themselves are significantly more prone to depression, as they view their past mistakes not as learning experiences, but as proof of their own inadequacy. Over time, this pattern reinforces a sense of hopelessness, leading to withdrawal, isolation, and in extreme cases, suicidal thoughts. The damage is not just emotional. There are real, measurable changes in the brain. Chronic stress from self-blame alters brain chemistry, reducing the production of serotonin and dopamine, neurotransmitters that regulate happiness and motivation. Once the brain falls into this biochemical imbalance, escaping it becomes even more difficult, trapping individuals in a vicious cycle that feels impossible to break. Beyond the mental toll, self-reproach exacts a heavy price on physical health. The constant stress response triggered by guilt and regret puts immense strain on the body. Stress hormones such as cortisol flood the system, weakening the immune response and making individuals more susceptible to illness. Heart disease, high blood pressure, and even digestive disorders have been linked to prolonged stress and anxiety. Sleep disturbances are another common symptom. Those who dwell on their past mistakes often find their minds racing at night, leading to chronic insomnia. Without proper rest, the body cannot repair itself, further deteriorating health over time. What begins as an emotional struggle gradually transforms into a physical decline, yet many fail to recognize the connection until they are already suffering from severe health issues. The effects extend beyond individual well-being, seeping into work performance and social relationships. The inability to forgive oneself leads to hesitation, fear of failure, and decreased confidence, all of which cripple productivity. A person trapped in self-doubt second-guesses their decisions, avoids challenges, and ultimately underperforms, reinforcing their own negative self-image. Career growth stalls, opportunities slip away, and professional aspirations fade into disappointment. Socially, self-reproach can be just as destructive. Those who constantly blame themselves may withdraw from friends and loved ones, believing they are unworthy of support or fearing judgment. This isolation only deepens the emotional wounds, creating a self-imposed prison where loneliness fuels even greater feelings of guilt and despair. Relationships suffer as communication breaks down, leading to further misunderstandings and reinforcing the idea that one is a burden to others. Understanding why people fall into the trap of self-reproach is crucial, yet the answers are often complex. Perfectionism is one of the most common culprits. Those who set impossibly high standards for themselves view any mistake, no matter how minor, as a catastrophic failure. This relentless pursuit of flawlessness leaves no room for self-compassion, making even small setbacks feel unbearable. Societal pressures also play a significant role. In a culture that glorifies success and achievement, failure is often stigmatized, leading individuals to internalize unrealistic expectations. The fear of disappointing others, whether family, colleagues, or peers, drives many to blame themselves excessively when they fall short. Past experiences, particularly negative childhood environments, can also plant the seeds of chronic self-reproach. Those who grew up in highly critical households or faced constant comparison may carry those feelings of inadequacy into adulthood, believing that they are never good enough. For some, self-reproach becomes so ingrained that it develops into imposter syndrome, the persistent belief that one's accomplishments are undeserved and that failure is inevitable. Even in the face of success, those suffering from this mindset dismiss their achievements as luck, fearing exposure as a fraud. This mental distortion further fuels self-doubt and anxiety, making it nearly impossible to acknowledge personal growth or accept praise. In the most extreme cases, unresolved guilt and self-blame can be linked to anxiety disorders and clinical depression, conditions that require professional intervention to overcome. Despite the heavy toll of self-reproach, breaking free from its grip is possible, but it is not easy. The first step is acknowledging that perfection is an illusion and that mistakes are an inevitable part of being human. Learning to separate one's self-worth from individual failures is critical in preventing guilt from becoming a defining identity. However, this is easier said than done, especially for those who have spent years or even decades trapped in negative thought patterns. Developing self-compassion is not an overnight process. It requires deliberate effort to reframe thoughts, focus on personal strengths, and practice forgiveness, both for oneself and others. A major challenge in overcoming self-reproach is shifting focus from the past to the present. Regret thrives on dwelling in what cannot be changed, but true growth happens when attention is redirected to what can be controlled now. Instead of replaying past mistakes, individuals must learn to ask themselves, "What can I do differently today?" Practicing mindfulness, journaling, and engaging in activities that promote self-acceptance can help break the cycle of negative thinking. Surrounding oneself with supportive people, those who encourage growth rather than reinforce guilt, is another key factor in recovery. However, for those who have been entrenched in self-blame for too long, professional help may be necessary. Therapy, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, has been proven effective in reshaping destructive thought patterns and helping individuals develop healthier coping mechanisms. Medication may also be required for those whose guilt has spiraled into clinical depression or anxiety disorders. The important thing is to recognize when self-reproach has crossed the line from a temporary emotional response to a chronic psychological burden that requires intervention. Ignoring the dangers of prolonged self-reproach is a serious mistake. What may seem like a harmless habit of self-reflection can quickly escalate into a life-altering struggle, affecting mental health, physical well-being, career success, and personal relationships. The longer it goes unchecked, the more damage it inflicts. It is not just a mindset. It is a silent force capable of eroding a person's entire sense of self. If left unaddressed, it can lead to years of regret, missed opportunities, and irreversible harm. Self-forgiveness is not a sign of weakness. It is an essential step toward reclaiming control, healing from past wounds, and moving forward with clarity and confidence. The real danger lies not in making mistakes, but in allowing them to define us indefinitely.